you could tell very quickly that something was going on down there, and it really hadn't hit the news yet, where you would hear it on the radio or something like that. We have radios that we monitor the Capitol Police with, and you could tell that it was really going sideways down there very early in the day.
Montgomery County 911, what's the address of the emergency?
Welcome to Voices of Service. Today we have part one of two interviews that we're doing about our special events response team and their response to January 6th. So we're going to be speaking with Sergeant Larry Haley and Police Officer 3 Willie Tart. And it can't be understated the role that the Montgomery County Police played in defending the Capitol on January 6th. So we're going to talk about the team a little bit, their experiences before January 6th, and then we're going to talk about what they did down there that day. But in between, you're going to do a very good piece on their equipment.
Yeah, I'm excited to bring to you guys a behind-the-scenes look at the equipment that they had, what they wear, not only on January 6th, but anytime we respond to a special event. So I look forward to bringing that to you. Stay tuned.
Thanks for joining us, guys. I'm really interested in the conversation we're going to have about your experiences with January 6th. We've seen a ton of stuff in the media about January 6th. All kinds of, there's a lot going on, right? Certainly a historic day in our country, not for the right reasons. But Montgomery County Police did their part and was there as far as defending the Capitol. So, but, you know, why would Montgomery County Police be there? But first, I know both of you guys for a long time. Larry, fantastic memories of you as a detective sergeant and a detective in major crimes and homicide. But what do you do now for the department?
Currently, I am the sergeant for the Germantown Investigative Section.
Okay.
So any number of crimes that occur within the Germantown district, I supervise the detectives that go out and investigate them.
Aggravated assaults, burglaries?
Aggravated assaults, burglaries, certainly certain types of threat calls, missing persons who are adults, that sort of thing.
Okay, very good. Willie, you and I go back to Honor Guard.
Yes.
So we've been on a whole bunch of funerals and parades and color teams, but what do you do now?
Right now, I am a community engagement officer, formerly known as a school resource officer for the department. My area of focus is the Silver Spring area, where I focus in on Springbrook High School and the elementary and middle schools that feed into Silver Spring. Okay. But we all work together down in 3D, so I can go to any of the schools in the 3D area.
So you both. Now, so people don't understand, we have extra duties, right? We don't have officers assigned to this task, this task, this task. We have extra duties. So that's your normal jobs, but you're also part of our CERT team.
What's CERT?
Special Events Response Team.
Okay. And I know, because we just were speaking about it, there's also a CERT in Silver Spring that we don't.
Correct, that one's with a C.
That's with a C. Okay.
So Special Events Response. Now, I'll date myself. I was on the first. I think, Larry, did we go through the first school together?
More than likely, it was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. Now, I was a hazmat guy. They found it. They said we need officers that can do hazmat investigations, and I was in major crimes at the time. But went through the whole CERT thing, but you've stuck with it. How many years?
So with Montgomery County, I've been in CERT since around 2006, I believe.
Okay.
I was actually a member of CERT on my previous department, where I did the first training for that in 1999 for Y2K.
Okay. Which department? Let's give them a shout out.
City of Riverdale.
City of Riverdale.
Glorious Prince George's County.
Okay.
Yes.
Willie, how long you been CERT?
I've been CERT since the academy, so I want to say since 2013. The little twist is that in 2015, we started another level of CERT, which is called Level 1. And I was a part of that introductory class. Were you a part of that class too, Larry?
I was, yes.
So in 2015, we got an extra level of training called Level 1, which has served us well. And our department is, I want to say, one of the model agencies for this entire region.
Entire region, entire country. I know we've got a lieutenant here, Pete Davidoff, that's a nationwide leader in training people how to put together these response units.
Yes.
That, and I want to be clear, we're not riot police.
No.
We're
No.
there to keep calm and to protect, and that's how we approach it. But Montgomery County, we've been leading the way in this response, and really, when you look at some of the things, our history, Baltimore, Freddie Gray, I believe, Larry, you were there.
I was there, yes.
Willie,
I came in after the initial deployment. I could have gone on the day that we deployed. I was actually at the DC Zoo with my family, and I told my wife we were deploying, and she looked at me, and it was one of the few times in the 20 years we've been together where she got a little emotional, and she said, "Please don't go."
okay.
And I said, "I'm going to do this for you this one time."
Well, there you go. You listen to Car One.
I listen to Car One.
First rule: listen to Car One.
Happy spouse, happy house.
That's right. So the Car One, for our listeners, that's what we refer to our partners, our spouses.
Yes.
Because, yeah, Chief Marcus Jones, he's Car One, but really, at the end of the day, the most important one is that Car One.
Yes.
So smart move on your part, but you were there, and I remember the feedback we got, which from the event was, "Oh my goodness, I'm so thankful. We are so thankful that Montgomery County was there." What did you bring to this? Why were people thankful that you were in Baltimore?
I think that when we showed up, we deployed from Montgomery County to Baltimore, and we deployed directly to Mondawmin Mall, which early in the day was where all the things started.
Right.
And the Baltimore officers there, if you saw the footage, were just getting crushed with bricks and concrete and anything that could be thrown at them, and they had no shields, they had no equipment really to speak of. We pulled into the Baltimore Zoo, which is right across from Mondawmin Mall, and we fully geared up there, took our shields, and came running into Mondawmin Mall and basically took over the front line for them. And
Now we're gonna do a piece that's gonna go, and so we hope our listeners stay tuned, because we're gonna do another piece where when you say gear up, we're not gonna go into that here. We're gonna show and talk about that in after our interview. But it's quite a bit of gear. So you geared up, you get over there, and all of a sudden now we have shields. Now we can protect from getting hit in the head with a brick, getting hit in the head. We did have an assistant chief hit in the toe with a brick, I recall.
yes.
But we were able to protect ourselves and protect officers from other agents, because they just didn't have that stuff.
They didn't. And one of our now lieutenants, Rob Sheehan, took a brick through, he was driving our van to deploy us and took a brick through the window and actually got injured on his arm.
Oh, wow.
But, that completely changed the texture of that event at that time, because now where people were hiding and trying to take cover, we could stand there on a line and restore order, because, the bricks and everything just deflect off our shields and they don't hurt us.
Right. So now I want to jump into it, right? Because, again, we get asked to go to all kinds of events. I have done with CERT, I have done inaugurations,
Yes.
right? We go down and do inaugurations just to provide security, both on the line and at the fancy hotels afterwards, where everyone's doing their dancing. We're outside in the freezing cold.
Absolutely.
Not anymore. You guys do it now. Those days are behind me. But although I miss it. But so we do events all the time. Even during the following George Floyd, you all were deployed, but in a reserve role as our patrol officers did their thing. But now let's jump to January 6th. So we had an idea that maybe there'd be a problem? Like, so just you all signed up for a detail that day, right?
Yes, correct.
You got an overtime or a regular duty assignment. You said, hey, we need people to go down on January 6th just to make sure. What was the mission parameters then?
So it's not unusual for us as either level 1 or as a CERT platoon or a company to go to assist either the U.S. Park Police or the Capitol Police in D.C. because they simply don't have the numbers. When you have 50, 100,000 people, you just don't have enough police officers.
Sarge, can I ask you a question really
Sure.
quick? So you say as a level 1, it's not unusual. And I understand with level 1, we have more training. How many officers in CERT are level 1? Or is it the entire team?
I
that
think
is
there's
trained as level
about,
1?
including the command staff, which also go through the same school with us, it's roughly around 60 or so at any
Okay.
given time.
Okay.
Okay.
On January 6th, I think we had about 40 plus command staff.
Okay.
And so we go down very early in the morning. Now it's Chief Tom Manger, but in the past it's whoever the chief is, will deputize us and swear us in. So we actually have full and concurrent law enforcement authority as Capitol Police officers on that day. So we can take
okay.
any action that we need to take.
All right. So the mission was just to go down there and be ready in case there was a need, or were you deploying anywhere?
I think we knew that there was a speech at the White House, on the back of the White House on
Right.
January 6th that President Trump was giving. I don't think even the Capitol Police really anticipated that would turn into what it did, that it would eventually come down to the Capitol and cause all the problems that it did. But
We
we
got-
were there to help them.
Right. We got a mutual aid request and we signed off, right away. So you all meet at a certain facility, a central point, because we have all this equipment, right?
Yes.
Now, Willie, you mentioned your wife and her response to the going to Baltimore.
Yes.
So, what was your interaction getting ready to go to this thing?
I got my gear together. Whenever we deploy, so as whether you're CERT or level 1, we are kind of expected to have our gear on us and ready to go at a moment's notice.
Right.
Every now and then, our sergeant or someone in or in our chain of command will send out an email. Hey, we're getting word that this may happen or that may happen. Please make sure that all your gear is ready to go and with you. So that day, had to pack a lunch because we didn't know how long we were going to be. Had to make sure all my gear was ready. I'm getting ready to leave, and my wife and my son, my 2 dogs, sheepdogs, are there, and she looks at me and I look at her, and she just kind of gives me that look, and I say I'll be okay. I promise I'll be home. I'll check in as soon as I can. We do every day. We do a family hug. So we did a family hug. I got in my car and I drove off. But I was nervous.
Sure. And now you're making me look bad that you're having family hugs before you go.
I'm thinking
Like,
of something
wow.
I need to start.
Well,
Yeah.
it's a family. It's something that we started, right? Before we go to bed, we do a family hug, and it's just kind of a way to end the day. You're fortunate and blessed enough I'm fortunate and blessed enough to make it home. Before we put our son down, we read to him, we sing to him as he goes to sleep. We just do a family hug, and
Nice.
it's just something that we started.
So now we're at SOD, and I'm sorry, I keep using acronyms.
I know.
Darn it. We're at Special Operations Division. You guys are kind of getting your gear together. There's always, I was in the military. I've been on plenty of police things. You build in a little bit of time. You get your stuff together. Something changed. What happens?
Well, first, I would say, fortunately, our command staff had a discussion the day before and had decided to bring us in a couple hours earlier than we originally anticipated, because when we were going to start was at the time that the president's speech was starting, and we realized that was a problem. So we had a couple extra hours built in on the beginning of it. And we're just there doing our normal thing, getting our vans loaded up, and you could tell very quickly that something was going on down there. And it really hadn't hit the news yet, where you would hear it on the radio or something like that. We have radios that we monitor the Capitol Police with, and you could tell that it was really going sideways down there very early in the day.
Okay.
And so our command staff came out and said, gear up. We're going down there. And it's very unusual for us to drive that distance with all our gear on because it is tiring, it is heavy, it is hot, even in January.
Sure.
And a number of us, you can see he's much bigger than me. So imagine him with all his pads on.
Right.
We don't fit in all the vans that way. So we were really spreading out. I rode down with Sergeant Kevin Ream. I don't know if you were in the van, but
No, I rode down with Lieutenant, I forgot who it was, but I rode down with a lieutenant.
because of all the
in
gear,
their
we had
car.
to jump into other cars
Yeah.
because you can't fit in the vans with all your stuff on.
So what was
basically.
going through your mind as you say it was very unusual that you would be asked to gear up before you went? So at what point did it start setting in?
I think we were starting to get word that people had been storming barricades and things like that. And we were listening to the Capitol radio driving down there, and I think it really kind of ramped up a notch when we could hear that they were yelling about shots being fired inside the Capitol. At that time, we had no idea who was doing that and for what purpose. We just knew that they were under siege.